Hey, what's even there, guys? Brian here, D3 Topic Gamer, here to share with you one of my worst to best lists. Now, this is going to be an interesting ranking video because I actually thought for the first time I would actually go over and ranking all of the games that I played in 2022 from worst to best. Now, much to my surprise, thanks to my little I don't know, yearly update that PlayStation and like a bunch of sites do. This is kind of pretty much what my year of gaming looked like, and I'm actually quite shocked of how low it is. But then again, there was a new addition that happened in my life that took a lot of time from gaming, so I will be sure to try to fix that. And the fact that I only played 11 new games is quite shocking. So I thought, heck, I would just go through those 11 games and just share my quick thoughts on each one of them and place them in ranking in terms of worst to best. So if you do happen to enjoy this little ranking video of mine, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep checking me out on my future videos. And remember, if you have any ideas for future ranking videos or review videos or just request videos in general, let me know in the comments down below, and I will be sure to try to get them up as soon as I can whenever I find time. So while wasting my time, let's jump right into my ranking, starting off with what I thought was the worst game that I played in 2022. Starting off with the worst game I played this year has to go to Need for Speed Unbound. Now, might surprise some people, but this was actually one of the most anticipated games I was looking forward to playing near the holiday season of the year. Visually, it looked great, and even though the story was a little bit kind of one-dimensional and not too interesting, I thought that the game mechanics and just new improvements in styles that they added for this game would be enough to get me through. Unfortunately, this game kind of went off a cliff when it came to the progression system. Now, the progression system relied completely on the amount of cash that you were willing to spend. And because of that, just in short, I got to a point where I literally could not progress in the game without having to start the game completely over. And it wasn't because this game was too hard. It was just I was using a car and a progression system that prevented me from progressing. And at some point, I just got too frustrated and I decided to quit. And this is the first Need for Speed game that I've ever actually quit in about 20 years, starting all the way back from Need for Speed Underground back in 2003. So the fact that this is just such a disaster is the main reason why it was without question the worst game I played in 2022. Moving up the list, we have to go to Pokemon Scarlet. Now, I have to take some blame for why I didn't like this game. It's simply based upon what I thought this game would end up being. Now, coming from having such an amazing experience playing Pokemon's Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I thought that Pokemon Scarlet would kind of follow the more traditional style of gameplay, only to find out that this game kind of uses an open world like system, simple, like kind of similar to something like Pokemon Shield and Sword or something like Pokemon Arceus. And those were the type of gameplay styles that I really didn't even like. And after playing this game for like 3 hours, it just got a little bit too frustrating, and I decided to kind of turn this in, trade it in, and put it towards another game that is on this list. So really, this was just a bad game, mainly because I didn't do my research and didn't quite understand what type of Pokemon game this ended up being. So I won't give it too much flack. So that's why it's in its spot on my list. Next on my list has to go to Gotham Knights. And oh boy, how did this go so wrong? Why couldn't they just do a copy and paste job from the Arkham games? Now, I actually did like the story that they were presenting, showing what the Bat family would do if Bruce Wayne had died. But what I didn't like about this is that they felt the need to kind of change up the gameplay style and progression system to a degree that just made the game just not fun to play. Now look, I'm a big fan of RPG elements, but I don't think that they need to be added in every single game. The combat was just sluggish. Getting around Gotham wasn't fun at all. And I think the fact that they didn't make a system that made you have to play as certain members of the Bat family on certain missions made the game kind of one-dimensional, because I only ever picked one character to play as, therefore I had no incentive to play as the other members of the Bat family, because heck, it gave me no advantages. So for those reasons, Gotham Knights was just a very disappointing game and just sad turn of events. But heck, I've played worse Batman games before. Next on my list has to go to the Callisto Protocol. Now, this game has been getting mixed reviews. Some gamers like it, some gamers don't like it. I'm more on the like it department, but I don't think that this was a great game. I think it was good in the condition that I was playing it on, though I was playing this on the best version, which is currently the PlayStation 5. But I'm sure several updates might improve the performance on other consoles. Now, this really kind of felt like it was trying to be a spiritual successor to Dead Space, and while it certainly took a lot of elements, I think the elements that they tried to keep it separate just weren't executed as well. The combat system was very much built for a more melee system. However, I didn't use it in that sense, but I could kind of see what the direction they were going. I thought visually this game looked absolutely incredible. Sound design was incredible. I thought some of the gameplay was also fine. It was a good campaign, just lengthwise with about 8 hours. So overall, while this wasn't a great game, I certainly think this is a good game and worth getting at a sales price if you are interested. But I certainly would wait a little bit longer for a few patches to smooth out some of the glitches and errors. That way you can have a much better experience. Next on my list has to go to the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. Now, this is a little bit cheating because this simply was just a updated version of a prior game that was released some years ago. But the only reason I really played this was so I could have a chance to play the Lost Legacy DLC content. And I thought it was a very solidly made Uncharted game. It showed that you could actually make a story that didn't involve Nathan Drake. I thought the story surrounding Chloe was pretty interesting. Gameplay wise, exploration wise, platform wise, it played exactly just as well as smooth as an Uncharted game. It wasn't very long and it didn't need to do that, but it also did try to have a little bit of exploration, needing to explore different temples in any order you want, which was a new addition, which was something I really appreciated. And just overall, it was just a well-made extended campaign from Naughty Dog, showing that Naughty Dog, despite its controversy, is still one of the best game developers out there in the industry. And heck, I actually am looking forward to what new games they come out with. But heck, I thought this Legacy Collection bundle was actually pretty good for what we got. Next on my list is Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, this was, without question, one of the most interesting concepts for a game that I played this year. I love the gameplay style that it presented, along with a lot of exploration open world elements. I love that it was set in Japan, Tokyo specifically. I love the idea of inspiration that they took for their enemy variety. I thought that was cool. I thought the combat was great. I thought the story could have used a few extra characters just to kind of make the spots between cinematics not feel so at times. I thought the RPG elements was very, very great. The game ran smoothly on my PlayStation 5, and overall, it was just an overall great experience. I highly recommend this to anyone who didn't get a chance to play this when it came out. Probably not a full price game for some, but I definitely think you could get this at a sales price. And yeah, I would love to see a sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah, absolutely. Next on the list has to go to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, this was certainly one of the better Call of Duty games I've played in some time. I definitely think that in a few elements, it actually was a step up a little bit in certain key departments above the first Modern Warfare remake. I thought audio design was absolutely incredible. This is by far the best sounding Call of Duty game of all time, in my opinion. I thought the mission variety was interesting, though they took some elements from prior games. Therefore, it had a hard time kind of establishing its own identity. The multiplayer this time around was very, very fun. I actually had quite a lot of fun playing multiplayer, and I'm actually very excited for the new raid that they're going to be introducing when it eventually comes out. I think it'll be fun to have a chance to go online and play hopefully like a semi-Destiny style raid on Call of Duty with some friends. So yeah, overall, this was definitely a great game for me to play, and I'm glad I added it to my collection. So yeah, that's why it holds the number 5 spot on my list. Next on my list is Resident Evil Village, or just really Resident Evil 8. Now, I've said many times, the main reason why I didn't play either Resident Evil 7 or Village was because I don't like the idea of playing this game in a first-person shooter. And I'm glad to know that I wasn't the only one who felt this way, because Capcom then went out of their way and actually made a third-person viewpoint. So it gave you the option to play in either first person or third person. And once I was playing this in third person, this game felt great. I thought it was a great length. I thought the interview variety was great. I think the story that they were trying to tell with Ethan Winters was great. I actually love the extra content that they added this time around in the Gold Edition. And overall, once I was playing this game in third person, this game easily became one of my top 5 favorite Resident Evil games of all time. It's such an amazing idea and concept of just how important a camera angle can affect your overall experience, which is why Resident Evil Village was definitely one of the best games that I played in 2022. Taking a number 3 spot on my list has to go to Live Alive on Nintendo Switch. Now, this game was actually recommended to me by another YouTuber and friend who also loves JRPGs as much as I do. And I must say, I'm glad I got to play this game because this game is a perfect update, remaster, or remake to the old school style of JRPGs that I enjoyed playing when I was a kid. I absolutely love the concept of playing as several different characters from different timelines, and they all had different abilities and different techniques and different abilities, different tones of story to tell, and then it all kind of came together at the end. It took some time. Now, not every single story I thought was great, and there are definitely some that I enjoyed more than others, but I think that it was its ability to try to use a simple gameplay battle grid and slightly different variations to create different experiences by connecting them to different stories and themes. And that's something that I haven't actually seen any other JRPG attempt to do. So that's why this was certainly one of the best, not only JRPGs I've played this year, but definitely one of my favorite new JRPGs I've ever played of all time. So that's why it's number 3 on my list. Taking the number 2 spot has to go to Horizon 2 Forbidden West. Now, after becoming a massive fan of the first installment in the form of Horizon Zero Dawn, I really want to see where the story and the gameplay and how much the game would actually improve. And while this game certainly did manage to improve in a number of key departments, it unfortunately had this process of making like 2 steps forward and then taking 1 step back, or making unnecessary changes in certain areas that I didn't think were necessary that kind of held the game back. And the story did have a tendency to drag a little bit, but that didn't really hurt my overall experience because this game visually looked incredible on the PlayStation 5. It ran well, it was incredibly smooth. I thought that some of the new additions that they added made the game even better, and I was very, very sad that this game got so many nominations at the Video Game Awards but didn't win anything. That was very much a serious disservice to what I thought was really a great game, and in some ways was actually has a few advantages over what was the best game I played this year. But overall, Horizon 2 Forbidden West is still one of the best games that I've played in a long time, and one of the best games I've played on PlayStation 5 to date, which is why it holds the number 2 spot on my list. Number 1 in the best game that I played in 2022, which is without question ended up being my personal game of the year, has to go to God of War Ragnarok. Now, God of War Ragnarok had a lot of advantages because the 2018 God of War remake, or technically reboot, was already a game of the year quality game for me at the time. So really all they had to do was just add some slight visual improvements, fix on the few errors I think that the 2018 game had, tell a different type of story, and you honestly, that's really all you need to do, and that is exactly what it did. It added some major improvements to some gameplay elements. I liked how we were exploring different realms. I absolutely fell in love with the story that they are trying to tell, and the few little technical gameplay errors I thought were in God of War 2018 were absolutely removed or fixed or replaced, and therefore it became exactly what a sequel to a Game of the Year quality game needed to be. So that's why simply God of War Ragnarok ended up being the best game that I played in 2022. And there you have it. My personal ranking from worst to best to all of the games that I played in 2022. So now that you guys know my ranking, I'm very curious. You don't have to necessarily do a ranking of all the games that you played this year, but just to keep it simple, what would you say was the worst game that you played in 2022, and what was your favorite game that you played in 2022? Please share those with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you all guys next time.